Hi, I'm at 1128 Katherine Drive in Beavercreek, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, basically anything that would be of concern to the buyer. Our access point here is an outside clean out to the rear of the house here. To the back of the house, you can see there is the driveway over there, and here's the attached garage, an addition garage, and this is a PVC clean out. It does have a sweep on it, so we'll only be able to go downstream from here. I was told it kind of goes out and then goes around there's a Y coming out of the house, and there is another clean out there on the back of the house, so this is coming from the addition. It's only a couple feet. If we need to, we'll go through there. But that Y is attached to the old original clay line here, which is kind of what I expected. And I was told this line goes out and then wraps around and goes down the same side as the driveway, runs next to it. Most common thing we see with clay lines is root intrusion. Clay lines have been around for a very long time, and they hold up really well. They just because if you notice, there's a section here, and then there'll be another one at about 36 feet. There's just a lot of, they're either 3 or 4 foot sections. This one is 4. But because of that, a lot of times the biggest thing we see is root intrusion. We have just a little belly there right before the turn. Not anything of any major concern. We'll try to take a better look at that when we pull back. Looks like the camera is kind of hazy for some reason. Usually when you go through any water like that, it rinses it off. But I mean, we can see well enough. It's just a little bit. There's a little bit of blurriness to it, not much. But with the sewer camera, that's kind of normal because you get things on the top there on the lens. This looks really good. I imagine the further we get out, we're going to get closer to that tree, and I would not be surprised if there is some root intrusion. This line probably runs almost right underneath that tree. Root intrusion is something that's very common. Like I mentioned earlier, it's probably roughly 80 to 90% of the lines that I inspect that are made of clay have some amount of root intrusion. There's a little bit there. And of course now we got stuff on the front of the camera. There's a little bit here at 111 feet. Let's see. Hopefully we get all the way out to the main and we rinse the camera off, and then we're able to see a lot better. But yeah, I'd really like to see right into here. There's a little tiny bit of roots, it looks like. But this is diving at a pretty good rate. I'm at like 6 to 10 degrees of drop. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see that. There's just a lot of debris up in front of the camera. It doesn't look like a whole lot of root intrusion, and we have run out of stick here. I am going to have to go locate this and find out where we are. I didn't see any other cleanouts along the way. Now, with a little bit of haziness on the camera, normally there would be a clean out once it turned and went out towards the front, and it's usually about every 100 feet. I have 150 feet on here, and usually that's plenty to get to another access point if necessary, or to the main. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to locate where we are to make sure that if nothing else, we're off the property. We'll look around for another access point, and then I'm also going to run some water and see if we can rinse the camera head off so we can see real well on the way back. Alright, so we're running some water here. It's going to take a while to get out to that level, but we are out in the street. I'm only less than 10 feet from the main. The main is just on the other side of the street, and I am actually about maybe 3 feet into the street. So we're off the property, so anything beyond this point would be the responsibility of the municipality, but we are going to run some water and see if we can rinse off the camera. The good news is, basically, once we get this cleaned off, we'll be able to see the length of pipe long enough and watch any, look for any signs as far as the water running, as any, slow flow or anything in the area. But we should be able to see pretty much enough ahead of us that we've inspected the entire line. Like I said, I'm well within 10 feet of the main, probably about 5 feet. And so we can't actually see the connection, but we are very, very close. And there was a driveway put in all the way back with this addition, and so if there is a clean out around the corner where it turns and went down next to the house, it's no longer accessible. So there we go. We've got some water coming through here. I'm going to have to shake the camera around and see if we can rinse this off. If not, I may have to pull the camera back and wipe the whole thing off, which I'd rather not have to do. But it almost seems like it's getting worse. I'm not sure what got on this, but so it looks to me like I'm probably going to have to pull this all the way back 140 feet and then put a standoff on it, or wipe the camera lens off and then go all the way back out. So it's probably got grease, or most likely it's got spider webs on the front, because they never come off of this even with the water. If it was grease or something like that, the stuff comes off the front fairly easy. I did mention that they do maintenance this about every year. They put a chemical treatment down it, copper sulfate, or like a root X or something like that. And what that does is it kind of burns back the roots a little bit, keeps them at bay so they don't grow, far enough into the pipe to cause a backup. And usually it does a pretty good job of keeping them out of the line altogether. What it does is it usually foams up, and then that foam kind of catches on the roots as it goes by, and then it adheres to them and kind of kills back the roots far enough to make sure they're not a problem, but it doesn't hurt the tree at all. And so I'm going to recommend that get continued. And so you can see there's something on there, but I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that was just probably spider web or something when I first went into the clean out, because that's usually where they are. And then they get on that camera lens, and water is not enough to get it off. Alright, so I'm going to make a second pass here. And I think what I'm going to do this time is hopefully we'll make it through this whole thing and not have to really worry about much. There's a minor belly as we turn the corner, around 35 feet or so, I believe. And this is going to be a little more pronounced because we are actively running water right through here. And you can see it's barely above the camera lens, and this lens is only about a ½ inch off the bottom of the pipe. This should be a 4-inch diameter clay line, so it's not a concern. There are no solids or anything resting in that area, which means it is, easily overtaking that little. It's just a little low spot. They're very common. See how much better we can see now. The lens cleaned up. So this line looks really good structurally. I'm really happy with it. And it looks to me like there's only going to be a few things of note in the entire line. And it looks like it's just going to be a couple spots of really minor root intrusion. So you can see, like right here, this isn't high enough. Normally, without the water running, this isn't high enough to cover the lens on the camera, but because we've got all this water running with the root, see there's some, so the root intrusion is right there at 116 feet. I'm sorry, 111 feet. And it's really not a whole lot. It's not causing blockage, but I would recommend probably go ahead and do a chemical treatment. A little bit more root intrusion here at 129. Some more at 137. So 111. And there we are. That's as far as we can get, but we are off the property. And so, yeah, I'm actually really happy with the shape of the line. We just have some minor root intrusion here. And so we got 142. And so I'm going to make note of where they are. And it would be so I'm going to recommend that roots, you either do what the homeowner has been doing, which is using a he's been using a root intrusion chemical. Like I said, like Root X or copper sulfate. There are a bunch of different kinds. Some work a little bit better than others. But what they will do is there's directions on them, but you usually put it in before you go to bed, flush some water through it enough to carry it down the pipe, and then the foaming agent kind of catches on the roots, and then it burns back or kills back a little bit of the roots there, so that you don't have to, so that it keeps it out of the flow line. Or you could have it cleaned mechanically to start out, and then do some treatments. Usually it's about yearly is what they call for, just due to but they start at 111 and go out to about 142, and that's where all the tree roots are, on the back half of the line. So, we are unable to inspect the interior line from here, just due to the fact that this is a sweep line. The one at the back of the house, I imagine that this is cast iron on the interior, and so just a note on the cast iron that they are a little more susceptible to soft clogs, so don't use any wet wipes. They shouldn't be going into any sewer lines at all, but they're worse in cast iron just because of how rough the interior pipe is. In this case, all you're seeing is clay and there's PVC. The cast iron rusts from the inside, and so it just becomes like sandpaper and really rough. And so when you do that, it's easier for those things to catch on that rusty pipe. And with those wet wipes, they don't break down like toilet paper. Toilet paper will disintegrate, and then you won't have to worry about it. The wet wipes do not break down, and so they'll catch on something, and if they get stuck, stuff will build up behind it because it won't disintegrate the way toilet paper is designed to do for that reason. And so from about 44 feet, you can see how it flashes. This is with water running. It's like 39, basically 40 to 44 feet is that belly, and it's a minor belly. Like I said, it's barely worth mentioning. And there's solid buildup. There's nothing in there. It's just a little low spot where that corner fitting sunk a little bit, and it's probably been that way since it was built. The line looks really good structurally. Just needs a little bit of maintenance to keep up on the roots, and the line should flow free and open for years to come. pulled all the way out, and just to kind of go over it briefly, sum it all up, the line looked great structurally. Just have a little bit of root intrusion, starting at about 111 feet, going out to in a couple different seams there, a couple different connections up until about 140 feet or so. But they're minor and can be, if treated well with chemical yearly, like the homeowner has been doing, should keep them, out of the main flow line and prevent any major backups. There's always an option to have it cleaned and re-inspected, in a few years, just to be sure that that the maintenance is doing a good job. But I would give it, at least 3 to 5 years of yearly chemical treatments first before you do a re-inspection. If you're wanting to check or gauge the root growth and possibly adjust the maintenance schedule. So that'll end the inspection at 1128 Katherine Drive in Beavercreek, Ohio.